Well, today we are back in this charming neighborhood of Linwood. It's very close to Oklahoma City University, which is where I was director of admissions for many years. Lots of Tudor homes, lots of really charming bungalows. This one I think is just adorable, and I love the way they've got their seating on the front porch, which is kind of modern, but nevertheless it echoes the trim of the house. I just really like it, and I think the owner is going to be meeting us here to do a little walkabout in the back of this garden. Stuart, if you don't mind kind of torquing a little bit and showing the cute house across the street. I love the way this homeowner has used the grasses to frame the view and provide a really lovely entrance to that porch. And again, there's just all sorts of charming little smaller homes in this area, very reminiscent of the same vintage of homes that are in my neighborhood. So this is my question of the day. I don't think I have ever asked that. And that is, wherever you live, do you have older neighborhoods near you that you sometimes just drive through for the sheer charm and novelty of seeing these older homes? And if so, are they near your downtown? Are you in a rural area? Because I'm really kind of curious about that, and whether or not these old neighborhoods where you live, whether or not they're still really thriving and active. So answer that question of the day. And Stuart, do you have anything to say before we go around? Another reminder that on a week from Sunday, we're going to do our first YouTube Live for members only. And again, welcome to all the members who joined yesterday. So this is our charming place, so let's get at it. Well, we have a real surprise for you all today. You love these little old home bungalows. This one was built in 1932, 33, something like that. And I am with my new friend, Barbara, who is just so gracious to let us look at her garden, which is really very much inspired by natives.
Yes.
So thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome.
And actually, you rent it out as an Airbnb to some horse people?
We do several times a year, and we have a garage apartment in the back that we'll stay in when they're here. So
because you spend your summers in
if
Colorado.
we're not in Colorado, yes.
Oh.
And this will be my first summer to really garden in Colorado. Last summer was our first one there, and we started. And this year I've got more plans.
Well, will you share with me everything you learned?
Yes, I will.
Oh, thank you.
It's different at high altitude. We're at 8,500 feet.
Yeah,
So
in
it's a little different.
Evergreen.
In Evergreen.
Yeah, she too has a child, a son.
In Denver.
Son in Denver. So we have a lot in common.
do.
So this is just absolutely adorable. I love the way the furniture is staged, and it's nice because it's kind of modern, but it repeats the color of the woodwork of the house, so it kind of all resonates, and it's just a lovely seating area. So you said that most of the natives you have added, but there were some foundational plants when you bought the home 3 years ago, and some of them were what?
Right. Well, the river birch was here, and the beautiful cedar was
Blue
here.
Atlas
Blue Atlas cedar, and the yopons and barberries were all here. And then my husband loves daylilies, so we've added those, even though they're not native. We didn't really learn about natives until about a year or two ago. So we've been adding them in. Now, I'm not going to rip out stuff to put in natives, but I can enlarge gardens and add more. Because they're so important to the ecosystem.
Absolutely.
And we all have a lot of natives anyway.
Right.
Most of us have a lot of natives that have much of a garden. So.
Does your husband collect daylilies, or he just loves them? He does.
He collects them. He was really good friends with a hybridizer that's no longer here, and he has a lot of his.
Was it that hybridizer?
Christmas berry.
Yeah, in western Oklahoma?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he got a lot of his, and
let's start walking around.
Sorry.
And I think people who love daylilies, that's a real community, isn't it?
It is a community. He belongs to the club, and one of my best friends is in it, and so we've got a lot of daylilies we've shared. Another neighbor is really into daylilies, so we kind of trade around.
Wonderful. So just a couple of housekeeping issues. Barbara's going to stay close to me because I'm mic'd up and she is not. And also I'm carrying my water because I've got a little bit of a residual cough, and if I have a coughing spasm, I need to take a little sip. Look at these.
These are ones he's collected. He doesn't know the names of all of them. I wish he were here because he could maybe tell you. That one we think is called Monkey Business. They have funny. They have fun names. And we think this one is Green Inferno with the chartreuse coloring. And that's a little Siloam that was. There's a hybridizer in Arkansas, I think, that does a lot of the bicolor ones like that.
And I love the fact that the bicolors all are the same tone. Look at the form of this
the little
one.
Spiders. They're my favorite, and I think it's called Sky High Butterfly, but I'm not positive. They've been again hybridized for different purposes.
Have you ever tried to eat any of the pods? I hear they're edible.
Are they good?
I don't know. I haven't tried it.
I have not done that. I hadn't heard that. And of course, they're not natives, but that's one of the things that we want to do is keep our beautiful things we're so fond of, but then just add some natives in. And we got a lot of fennel. The swallowtails love it. It's flowering right now. I should probably cut it back, but it smells so wonderful.
I think I caught a whiff of it before I realized it was here standing on the front porch. And that's a great take home tip, don't you think, is planting things with fragrance near where you sit.
It's wonderful. And if you brush past them, and it just is a nice addition to the garden. It's a big part, especially when they're like my lavender over there is close enough to brush past, and it's my favorite thing.
The other thing about your daylilies is I think they blend so seamlessly with the natives that they take on a native quality about them. And I have to say, the foliage is also just beautiful. Does it stay looking this good?
It stays this way almost all year. They're very carefree plants. I don't know of any diseases that we've had them get or anything. They're extremely easy. And we're actually the Daylily Club in Oklahoma City. We're going to be the national show in 3 years. So
congratulations!
They're looking maybe for more gardens that really specialize in daylilies. So if you see some, let me know.
That's wonderful.
So it'll be the national. We're competing like places like Biltmore, but
Congratulations!
Yeah. I mean, I'm not in the club, but one of my best friends is, and she knows all about it.
You'll put Oklahoma on the map. And this really is carefree because you've just got some chrysanthemums that you just let come back.
I bought it for Christmas, and I can't throw plants away, so I just planted it, or for fall for my pots. And then I love living mulches. So these sedums are so wonderful.
Yeah, this is that stringy sedum, I think.
I mean, you can see little dandelions.
Is that bellflower there?
It is, and I love those.
And I love, talk to me a little bit about all of the textural contrast you have here and shape and form.
That is important to me. The color and the contrast. I love like the fine-leafed fennel goes with a lot of things, and the broad-leafed iris, and then the blue and the red. Color is a big deal to me. So those were here, the blue and the red contrast, but I love that.
Was this intentional that the beautiful color of this daylily, this maroon color, kind of echoes the color of the barberry?
Honestly, I don't think so, but what a happy accident. I love it.
And even with the fennel, it
kind of just all, and this even was maybe an accident, the chartreuse with the chartreuse centers. Unless my husband did that on purpose, I'm not sure.
Well, it looks very intentional. Another tip, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said that she never really was much of a fan of iris because the blooms are so fleeting.
They are.
And the blooms can even be a little bit gangly, I guess. Now I'm going to offend some people who love iris because they certainly have an exotic beauty all their own. But to me, the real merit of them is the
foliage,
the lance-like foliage,
and the color.
And the
It's
color.
a little different green. It's got a little blue cast. I love irises too.
And just such an inexpensive but effective pairing of that fennel with the sword-shaped leaves.
And of course, we need to get in and thin. This is our 3rd year in the house, and that saying, first year it sleeps, the second year it creeps, and then the 3rd year, wham. And so we're going to have to divvy things up and maybe start a new garden.
Did you add this stone border?
It was here, which I
It was
love.
here.
To me, that's the worst part of doing something like this, and it was already here. We'd like to actually make it bigger, but we're not going to move in.
Oh, no, that that would be an undertaking. And I love kind of the grays with the blue gray of the foliage. It just looks beautiful.
There were great basic plants here. Somebody flipped this house about 10 years ago, from what I could see online from pictures, and they did the plantings, and they did a great job.
Yeah, they actually did.
The atlas with the red barberries. And
Stuart, would you mind? This is one of the larger blue atlas in Oklahoma City I've seen.
Really?
Yes, it is very, very happy here. And amazingly, no ice damage.
No, we've been lucky. No branches have even. Now the river birch, we get stuff all the time, but this has not been a problem at all. And so I don't know if it's a little bit protected, but not really. It's on the northwest corner of the house.
Well, it is just beautiful.
So we added this bed 2 years ago, starting right here and wrapping around, mostly for his daylilies. And we just see the bee.
Do you know what variety this Nepota is?
No, maybe Walker's.
Walker's Low?
The Low,
Well, it's beautiful, and I don't see a hint of spider mite on it, which is
I have it on some of my others.
I do too. I'm already getting it, but at least this isn't.
This one looks really beautiful.
What is this one again?
Walker's Low Nepota or Catman.
And it's all from transplants where I've divvied it up and put it out. And we got compost to fill this little bed in. We built a little rock wall and filled it with some compost from Minix, and things are happy. They like it
your
so far.
investment really sounds to me like it's been in the soil, because gardening doesn't have to be expensive.
No.
So you've just divided a lot of this.
Almost all of this are freebies. These are mostly freebies or things that we've divided. And like when we sold our house in Norman, we'd lived there 20 years, and we dug stuff up and brought with us. We didn't take it all because we were selling it to botanists, but so we didn't take as much as we wanted. But there were things I'd planted in Norman that never thrived. It was so much shade, and I brought them here, and they've gone crazy. A little salvia.
And where?
And this is the milkweed. This is the tuberosa that comes back every year, and the butterflies and natives love it. And it's a beautiful orange with that purple.
And the spires, these tall spikes of the daylilies, all of those just getting ready
They're
to blow.
getting ready to pop open.
What are these here again?
They're daylilies.
They're daylilies.
But I don't know what variety that is. But it's a tall one. And then here's my lavender. I've got some Bermuda coming up in the middle of it, but I bet you I've killed 40 lavender plants. Now I have bought lavender plants, and this one loves it here against the rock and the west side.
And the west side, but it gets a little bit of protection. Do you know what variety it is?
I think it's an English. It's a hardy one, and it might be a head coat. I think some of the others are a little
Munstead,
and some of them are a little less hardy than others, and this one I think really likes it, and I think it's an English.
Oh.
Isn't it fantastic? See, I love to brush by it on my way through. I purposely just walk right through it on my way past.
And with the winds we've been having recently, you can probably also smell it on your porch.
And so it loves it. I hope it lasts forever, but
In Oklahoma, nothing lasts.
No.
Nothing lasts forever, but it just so harmoniously blends. Oh my goodness, these daylilies.
Now the one thing, my husband is a daylily aficionado, so this is all daylilies. And to me, I like a bed with more variety for that contrast. So if I were him, I would make another bed and put half of these daylilies and put fennel and some other things in here for contrast. That's what I would do. But he loves these daylilies. These ruffled edges are ones from Christmasberry. He specialized in those.
Boy, these are, I have to say, I have never been a huge daylily fan, but boy, these
aren't they pretty?
These are
Look at the little yellow ruffled edge.
And they're also so much more substantial than just like the common Stella d'Oro and some of the other ones. These are like a whole different plant.
They are really beautiful. This little orangey down that's low is
Stuart,
one.
are you caught, honey?
Yeah.
There we go.
Got caught on the daylily.
This one is called Pepper Barnfire, this little one, and it has some little black in the middle, but Chris hybridized that and named it.
Really?
This is amazing. Is this irrigated in any way?
We do have a sprinkler system.
Is it a drip?
It's a pop-up
Pop-up.
sprayer, which drip is probably better, but the sprinkler system was here, so we were thrilled.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're not going to turn away a...
No. And so we've been lucky that way. And we can go to Colorado and not worry about it as much. We set it up, and then I've got good friends who'll come by and try to
tweak it a little bit. If
yes.
Will this foliage stay green all summer, or will it start doing a little
It does a
bit
little
of
bit
this?
of that, but overall it stays green. That's probably just from a little batch that got too dry. It is really pretty all year. And they're blooming right now. This is the big time at Will Rogers has a pretty daylily garden.
Oh, I need
and
to
so
get
if
over
people,
there.
if your customers or your TV viewers or whatever are interested, it'd be a great time to go stroll through
That's
the daylily garden.
at Will Rogers on Portland and 36th.
Yes.
Portland and 36. If you haven't been there, you need to go. And I know you like the variety, but boy, the drama of these planted
is
in
dramatic.
moss right on a
Yes.
corner as you come down the
Yes.
street and you see all of these.
We have people we don't even know slow down and say, we love your garden. And so it's really it's been a nice way to get to know neighbors too.
I mean, just lovely. We've got some rosemary, some more sedum,
Some oregano.
some
The spiderwort is native.
and
That little corner is native. It's
and
different
is that a
things.
little tomato you have coming up in
Yes,
there?
they just pop up. And
Yeah,
we
from the
sometimes leave
compost.
them.
Oh, I do
from
too.
The compost. We
a
leave
lot of
them if they're in a good
similarities
spot.
And this backdrop plant,
I think it's a native little plum, but I wish I knew what that tree was.
it looks like,
Do you
I think
know?
you're right. I think you're right. And the nice thing is it's been pruned up some so you still get light through
I invited
into the
some
house.
of my neighbors over for mimosas, and she's the president of the Daylily Society. Linda
Oh
is
my
loving her days. This is
goodness.
Kathy.
Okay, everybody stand close to me so
Okay.
we can hear you.
This is Kathy.
Okay, Kathy.
Sherlock.
I'm in the presence of royalty. So
Oh,
you're
I was the president of the Oklahoma City Daylily Club for 4 years. I'm not now, but I was.
She's given it up.
Central Oklahoma Hemerocallis Society.
So it's. I was telling her it's a great time to go to Will Rogers
Yes,
and
it's
tour. So.
beautiful, Will Rogers.
and,
right now.
and if you go, make sure to wear a cute chapeau like this because that's adorable. And so, do you live nearby also?
2 blocks that way.
2 blocks that way. Very much reminiscent of my own neighborhood
Yeah.
because lots of gardeners live close by within walking distance. It's
And
so
trade
lovely.
Plants and
And have mimosas.
Yes.
Yes.
Because that's
You'll have to have one.
Yeah,
you and Stuart after.
you don't have to ask us twice. You don't have to ask us twice. So how did you both get into gardening?
Gosh, I don't know.
in our 20s. We've been friends since
We were
high
roommates in
school.
college, and I had
Yeah.
an African violet my grandmother gave me in our room. And then I don't know how I love
We
gardening
just
so
loved
much.
it.
My parents gardened, but not when I was young. In their
Yeah.
later years, some, but we're both just
We've
into
been
it.
doing it since our 20s.
Yeah.
Well, I think I have too. I have often said that I grew lots of houseplants, like the African violets and
Yeah.
things, and which are having kind of a
They
resurgence in
are.
popularity.
Our son in Denver, his family has all sorts of houseplants.
Did you do the
And
little thing where
African
you would
violet,
start
too.
cut the leaves and propagate the
Yeah.
leaves?
I have not done that. You probably.
I've
She's
seen
better
it
at
done, but I
propagating.
didn't.
She's been teaching me to look for seedlings and let flowers come up before I pull them as weeds. I've been real bad about that.
Well,
In general.
sometimes it's hard to tell a weed from
Yeah,
a
you have to memorize
valuable
the
native.
secondary leaves and know what they are. It's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, very much. Would you like to tour with us?
Well,
Or do you want to
sure.
go in and pick some mimosas?
I was going to sneak in your garage.
Yeah,
and
the
make
garage is
mimosas.
fine.
I'll
You
let
bet.
you guys
She
know
has her
mine.
priorities.
Yeah.
I know.
I like that. I like that about you.
Thank
Nice to meet you.
One for Linda and Stuart.
Okay.
That's in the fridge.
Okay, we did not plan on that. And we did not plan on a mimosa, but we are not one to turn one down, are we, Stuart? So you told me that you added,
This is our latest bed that has more than half natives. This is where we really tried to add natives because we started fresh. And so the Greg's Mist flower has a really pretty little purple. That's the toothed leaf there. It's a native. These little wine cups are darling. They're natives. See the little purple?
Yes.
I love them.
They look like a geranium,
They
like
do.
a geranium sanguineum.
And they're a little ground cover. That's sorrel, which I have yet to make sorrel soup, but I've heard it's fantastic.
I have grown sorrel, but
Have
never
you?
made sorrel soup.
We
Interesting.
heard, and then the cone flowers are native, which are getting ready to open. Right back in the bag.
They're quintessentially Oklahoman, aren't they? I've always wanted to get a stand of coneflower and liatris or naked ladies,
Yes.
or not naked ladies, what are they called?
The, gay feathers.
Gay feathers to grow.
Wouldn't that be pretty?
Well, because that's how they grow down in the Wichita Mountains.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I just don't have a big enough landscape to do them justice, but
And you have to have a lot of sun.
you have to have a lot of
Which I
sun.
love trees, and you probably do too.
I need to give you some of my columbine. You're a California girl or a Colorado girl, so I need to
Yes, I
give you
would
lots
love
of my
some.
columbine seed.
Look at my little weed that got in. I'll pull that. Now this is called frog fruit. This little one right here, little bitty flower. It's a native that is supposed to possibly be a good replacement for a lawn because you can mow it.
Oh,
Now,
that's
we've got it
good
in the
to
bed,
know.
and we'll see what it does.
And you're saying frog fruit?
Frog fruit, which you know,
How has your education about natives
it's
come
been
to
kind
pass?
of tough. There's a really good Facebook page called Pollinator Friendly Yards, who recommend Doug Tallamy, his books on
Yes.
how important it is. And then there are 2 or 3 vendors that we love that we buy from. One is Prairie Wind that used to be in
yeah.
Normanville, and then there's Leah's Garden at the Commonwealth over by Paseo.
That's on our list to get over there.
She's awesome and she knows a lot. And then there's a Tulsa nursery called Wild Things that comes here a lot. And we've bought everything from the 3 of them, unless someone's given them to us.
What is this here that's
Something
getting ready to go to
wild.
seed?
I think a little onion.
Yeah,
I
looks-
just kind of think it's pretty. So it came with the trees, I think. It just kind of
and classic.
blanket flower. It's quitting briefly, but boy, it was just gorgeous, and it'll be gorgeous again.
Is that our state flower?
It is our state flower, Indian blanket flower, yeah.
Gaillardia?
Gaillardia.
Okay. And rounding the bend?
Yes, and then we've got kale, which the bugs obviously love more than I do. I'm trying to learn to like it.
I planted that same variety and it did the same thing and it ended up in my compost pile. But I wish it would get full a little bit earlier in the year in spring before the
Bugs get crazy.
the bugs get it.
You know, I hate the look of the holes all in the leaves, but like on the Pollinator Friendly Facebook page, they're kind of fanatic and they say that's good. Something's
No.
enjoying it, and I'm saying okay.
And especially if it's a butterfly or whatever.
Yes, and I'm not. I don't dislike kale. There are some kales I like kale salad. So I steamed this like spinach, and that was a big mistake. So don't do that.
Have you ever tried Andrew Wiles kale salad? Oh my
no, not
gosh.
his, but I bet it's the one that the Smitten Kitchen, her kale salad.
Yeah,
it's probably
it's
the same
probably
with some
similar.
goat cheese, and yeah, I bet it's
Goat
similar.
or feta, and yeah, it's
And
wonderful.
then this is goldenrod a neighbor gave me that's tall. I haven't grown it before.
And this is
That's those are semi-native. That's the penstemon. That's the
Boy.
Husker red.
it looks. That's the reddest Husker red in terms of the veining and the leaf.
I do think we have rich soil,
You have great soil.
but I don't know. Like we're thinking, see this black-eyed Susan? Every time it gets ready to bloom, it starts wilting, and we're beginning to think our soil is too rich for it. We're hoping it's not a disease.
Is Husker red? Is that a native or a nativar?
It's a native R, and that's another thing people are that's confusing. Because penstemon is native, well, are the hybrids native? And
yeah.
people are beginning to say, well, if it's a double flower, the bees can't get in, and they get confused. So just try to stay kind of native, where the flowers aren't all.
I'm not an absolutist in that
I'm not
regard.
an absolutist either.
And
so
you've got
and
some
this is another
cosmos.
little goldenrod and another fennel and cosmos.
Okay, may we stand?
Yes.
Or Stuart, can we stand back because
Whole entrance idea.
I'm doing a series on garden design principles, and this is
Y'all stand close while I'm as far away from you.
is a wonderful example of both making a welcoming entrance in the symmetry that you've got here, but also framing the view into the entrance. And you framed it with two. Tell me about the trees again.
These are autumn blaze maples, and they are fast growing, and they've been beautiful, and added some west shade for us too, and some shade for the plants.
Really lovely.
But we kind of did the beds around the three maples and I like curves, so I did a few little curves and debated whether to come all the way to the curb or not, but I kind of like this.
I do too, and I like the curve of it. Kind of echoes the curves of the architectural features of the house. Boy, that's a happy stand, the blanket flower.
It's, of course, like we said, a native, and we've got then the Gara, which is getting ready to pop, and a lot of stuff is getting ready to pop. The yarrow I love. It's kind of a pinky purple I've not seen much.
Do you do your own composting?
Yes. We have a little bin. And we bought this soil though. I mean, we had it added. We didn't raise this bed, but things seem happy anyway. If anything, it's too rich for some of the natives.
Yeah, I think so too. And here is a great tip, because, and I'm calling it the new formal garden, because here you have characteristics of both informal landscape, a more native terrain landscape by virtue of your plantings, but you've got a formal element in the fact that everything is so perfectly manicured, and your edges are very, very crisp, and your garden, you've introduced, you're allowed clover and different kinds of things to grow up in it. But that doesn't at all make it look unkempt, because everything is just so beautifully edged.
And the little bit of green to me just makes the flowers such a beautiful backdrop. It really sets them off. And so I think I'm glad that we didn't come all the way out to the street with it. And the formality too, to me, is a little bit of symmetry.
Yeah.
You know, just a little bit of symmetry, some neatness, and the border of the green grass.
It's wonderful. And the tension then of all the billowy stuff.
And I do like the English style or the real native cottage garden.
Right.
Where and I do like now, I have, that sedum has not gone everywhere, so I've got a lot of little weeds that pop up all the time, but it's relatively easy to weed.
Right. And some weeds are good pollinators too.
And we've got some other natives. I love the little coreopsis you can't lose. And we've got Mexican hats that'll be getting ready to bloom this year, right here.
And what's interesting to me is, even though it's already gotten very, very hot, you still have lots of things that are getting ready to bloom, and I love that. And they can obviously handle the heat, because this is about as brutal an exposure, an Oklahoma Western exposure.
It is true, with no break at all.
Yeah.
If she had, I wish the neighbor had canopy trees that help shade this part, but she doesn't.
And not just exposure to the sun, but to the wind as well.
And so we're pleased. We're so pleased with how it's done. It's really been fairly fuss-free.
Okay.
And we've got Monarda here. This is looking sad, and I don't know why. It's a chartreuse spiderwort, but it's a beautiful plant.
Could be all of the rain. We had so much rain.
Maybe it's getting too much water. And then we've got Monarda getting ready to bloom, the bee balm. That's a native. And more of the Catman. Now this one has the spider mites.
It does?
Thrips, I can't tell.
I know, the thrips have been terrible this year.
So unfortunately it's unsightly, and I don't know if it hurts the plants or not, but I almost think it's thrips, because it comes early in the spring before spider mites should be here, but I'm not sure.
Well, because the heat came early, so the spider mite cut early. Well, the nice thing is about Nepota is you can cut it back hard, and it will come back again. Is this a viburnum?
This is a viburnum. I think it's native Birkwood, but I'm not positive. There are some native viburnums, and I think nurseries are trying to get into this, because I'm trying to do more native. We did plant a little native 9-bark right over here. That'll be a beautiful shrub. They had it's teeny right now, but they had beautiful ones at the Tulsa Botanic Garden, and I'd never heard of them before. 9-bark.
And you've got some beautiful dill back in here for the swallowtail.
And more goldenrod, things that we've just spread So and I kind of do like to repeat, I like to repeat the Catman. So here it is again.
Is this, excuse me, is this a gem?
It is.
I haven't seen one of those in
I
years.
bought that at Lowe's of all things, and I think it's a little native, and it just happily blooms. I'm real happy with it.
I have not
kinda love
seen
it.
that in
and
years.
I've never heard of one. So you've seen them before, and I never had. And then there's a little vine coming up that I have no idea what that is. I hope it's good, but it's probably not. But
What?
it looks like a little pea or
I
something.
know, it looks like a little, and it has that eucalyptus color to it that's, I think, so pretty.
So we'll let it go and see. I hope it doesn't strangle everything while we're in Colorado.
The nice thing too is that you have this, and not only is it a beautiful entryway that way, but you told me that around on the garage side there's an entrance
Yes.
too. So you see all this beauty not only as you're just driving by, but as you pull in the driveway. And no matter what, Barbara, whenever we shoot, Stuart, it's always trash day, isn't it?
Isn't that
It is
terrible?
always
I
trash
know.
day.
We at
No,
least moved them down. We had them right here like we always do. And I
But
thought, oh, I've got to
don't
move
feel
them.
bad because it's the same way in front of my house, and it's just once a week. But no matter what day we decide to shoot, it's always
did
trash.
get feathers for the
It's Stuart.
first
I think
time.
that's your fault.
Always.
Yeah, I think that's Stuart's fault.
I did get feathers for the first time. See them?
Oh,
just from little
yes.
bulbs. I've got a set of them here and there that I've.
And
put in.
and here you've done it. You
I
planted
like
them
to
with
do-
with the
I
coneflower.
swear I do threes, and more than that came up. I don't know, but they're. And I did plant them with the coneflower. I'd forgotten that.
Because that's how they grow on the prairie.
And the little coreopsis is just such a happy
What
little thing.
what is this?
It is another native called rattlesnake master. It's interesting. It puts out a flower that looks like a white ball.
Rattlesnake
Yes,
master.
rattlesnake master. It has a very interesting flower, and
Okay.
it looks like it's getting ready to think about
I
it.
have to touch this.
Oh, isn't it great? It's happy there too.
Thyme is one of my very favorite herbs. Oh my goodness, Stuart, I'll share.
It's a good one. It's done well. I've tried lots of time too, and haven't had success everywhere.
It just
It
it
likes it here.
It has to have perfect drainage too. You can't.
Yeah.
And more water than you'd think.
I think one reason we had luck is because nobody had ever planted anything in this yard. It was like virgin soil, and we didn't even have trees until we put these in, and we think they're sapping it, but it's worth it.
Yeah,
But
it's
I think
worth
that,
it.
You know, we'll have to add more fertilizers and do a little more upkeep
Well, and by
as
that,
the days go by.
hopefully by that time, all of this will be so established that it won't care. And then you've
Yeah.
punctuated
Here's
it at the
another little
end.
daylily.
Oh, and look at this color
Isn't that
echo.
pretty? See, a neighbor on 21st gave that to us, a guy named Scott that's a master gardener, and then the blanket flower.
Perfect match.
Right, shall we go through the gate?
Yep, let's definitely go to the gate. Stuart is very talented. Barbara, he can see how he can walk backwards and
keep a steady hand.
And keep a steady hand. And I don't give him enough credit because at the end of these, his arms are really tired.
I bet. I wouldn't like that. Okay. You all first, or?
Okay. First, let's just get out of the way to appreciate this charming, charming entrance to this charming, charming courtyard. Oh my
Thank
gosh,
you.
this is just,
This is my husband's bed, which we kind of reserved for food, but you can see that's not going to last. I've put too much of my stuff in it. I've got my red star hibiscus. That's a native perennial hibiscus, and it is a gorgeous bloom. I wish it would. Have you seen those, the red with the little chartreuse stripe?
I
the
don't
big?
think I have, but boy,
They are beautiful. And then I replicated the New Dawn Rose from my old house because I love those. They're kind of wild and crazy, but I love them. It's through with its bloom. And then that black sage. It's too big, and I'm going to have it. You know, again, we'll have to do some. And then our grandson picked out his favorite thing at the garden, and he got a zinnia.
yes.
And my granddaughter picked out her favorite, and it was the pink cosmos.
Isn't
that
that
this one
fun?
Yes, the little one right
That's
above.
been a real thematic of the garden tours we've done recently, is just sharing your information and love with under gardeners
Yes.
and letting them pick out
This is a Daylily Dennis loves. It's named after a Grateful Dead song. It's Fire on the Mountain.
Oh, wow,
And
yeah.
he loves that one.
I'm aware.
And then he's got some of his basil, and it's popped up pretty big all of a sudden, so it's doing well. And he's got tomatoes back there.
Now,
and,
is this rue?
we don't know. That was here. It's just something that popped up.
It's got, I love the color of it with the
back
baptisia
there.
and the fennel. Back here. I could be wrong on that. If you guys know,
sure.
if you guys out there in garden land know, please share your information.
I have a little clematis I transplanted. It was out there where we just were on the west side, and it hated it. So it's barely clinging to life, but I decided I'd try to salvage it.
Yeah, feet in the shade, head in the sun. I had so many clematis for a while, but you know, they're not long lived either. They ultimately a lot of them will get clematis wilt.
And I know, I think it's not native, but I love the little drift roses.
Oh, I do too.
They just clean themselves up and bloom all summer.
They don't get, they're disease resistant, and I love this shade.
The apricot, it's so pretty. And then this is crazy taken over with stuff. It's kind of shady right here, so there's a wild iris that loves it here.
I just love the foliage on all you're making a daylily lover out of me, because the foliage is just so spectacular.
Our house plants, we have to figure out where to put them when
Yes.
we're in Colorado. So we're trying, we're making sure the sprinkler will hit them. So we're putting things out and trying to. It isn't just for looks. It's to see what's going to live with the sprinklers while we're gone for a month and a half.
It's hard to travel and be a gardener.
It's like having 1,000 pets.
It is hard. And here's
Yeah,
more great
Stuart, you're
flower,
right.
More bug-loving kale.
Well, maybe
At least you're feeding the bugs.
Yeah,
maybe it's and you know what? Maybe it's a magnet plant, so it's
Maybe
taking
so.
some of the.
We have definitely, I will say this, 3 years ago we saw almost not a single bug or butterfly or bird. And in 3 years we are becoming, I feel like, compared to what it was, like a little haven of butterflies and birds, and I'm so happy. That was the goal. We missed our birds.
Yeah, but a garden without wildlife is just a stage set.
That's true.
Stuart, I just want to make sure that we really capture the charm of both of those doors. There's a lovely breeze in here, even though this is enclosed, and the perfect kind of privacy that you would want if you were renting. Boy, what a deal! I hope you charge a lot. I hope you charge a lot, because this is just lovely.
And we're out. I told her, now we'll be out in the garden a lot, and especially Thursday morning, and told her, and she goes, oh, this is our Pro Bowl at the horse show. We're not going to be there at all except at night to sleep and do laundry. So sure enough, she's been gone.
Well, that's a very Oklahoma thing.
yeah.
Oklahoma is filled with
That's
horse
right.
people.
So we've got, this cilantro we've got wild strawberry.
Hold on one second.
Yeah, we'll wait till the trash truck.
We've put in some wild strawberry. I'm trying to grow camellias, but I don't know.
They're hard to
I've
grow.
had a little trouble. The eyes. I mean, like the cypress tree over there, the Italian cypress, it was our Christmas tree three Christmases ago. And I planted it and was so proud of myself. And then it got down to -14.
Yeah.
And it lived though. But it
Well,
didn't
that's
look
pretty
as
amazing that it lives. I do a lot with Southern Living Plant Collection, and they've got some wonderful camellias. But I think what we've all found is that our Zone 7B, the extremes, are getting more extreme, and so
They
now it's
are.
almost like we need
Like
to make sure things are
Yeah.
that are hardy
Zone
to Zone
6.
6. Yes.
This is my favorite daylily. Okay, Chris hybridized this one,
sorry,
Christmas Berry. And he didn't name it, so he asked Dennis to name it. And Dennis named it after one of our oldest granddaughter, and he calls it Livy Sunshine. So her name's Olivia. So this is our personal hybridized.
That is
And
how
I love it.
special.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful? I just love the colors. It's got a little peach and chartreuse
I
and the
love the
ruffled
name.
edges.
I tell you, I have not, I've seen very few with the ruffled edges, and that transforms this into a whole different plant
It
to me.
does. There are really varieties, that spider plant out front versus this, and some of the colors. I can't remember what that one's called. We're trying to go to the gardens and look.
You know,
And-
interestingly, excuse me for interrupting, I was in, I did a tour in a Buffalo, and it was at like a Daylily nursery. I don't remember, maybe it's the time of year, but I do not remember their daylilies being nearly as
They're
spectacular
really
as these.
spectacular. Thank you. My husband will be so happy you said that. He'll be so happy. He's at work, but so more Catman, more phlox, which is native. Where the hot pink came from, I don't know. The little
I've got-
hot pink phlox.
Oh, back here.
Do they ever change color on you? Do they ever?
I have
like,
this,
cross?
and it's,
Because I've never bought that phlox. It came from this.
I don't
I'm
know.
pretty sure.
I don't know. That's another question for all of you guys out there, if you know. But boy, it's beautiful, isn't it? And it looks a little tougher to me. Those
I love
flower
that
heads
color.
look,
I do love that
especially
color.
with the other colors you've got.
This
you've
was
got in your
an
garden.
old-fashioned French rose, an antique one that I had in my Norman house in too much shade, and it stayed really teeny for 10 years. It bloomed a teeny little bit, and I just dug it up and brought it, and it loves it here. It gets good
Perfect
sun,
exposure.
and it'll bloom all summer. It's had one huge flush, and you can see all the buds on it again. And I kind of deadhead it, and then it blooms again.
It loved all that rain. Not a hint of black spot or any kind of disease, rosette. One thing I've started noticing is the grasshoppers are coming out.
Oh no.
Yeah, I
too
have
bad.
seen lots of little baby ones, and they're starting to come out.
This is a new little native I love. It's called Blackfoot Daisy. Look at
How
that is. It was
cute.
new for me this year.
It looks like that
Or maybe
Zinnia
last year.
linarius, but
Isn't it darling?
it is darling.
And it just stays low to the ground, and then that little wine cup, I cannot say enough how much I like it. It's this little foliage, but it's got that pretty little purple bloom that
Purpley,
just pops
yeah.
up in between stuff. I really like
And
it.
so you have kind of a purple and gray and gold and deep
Yeah.
maroon.
I do love purples. I think purple goes with everything.
Now I love the way, is this just native
I stick it in the
native
ground.
purslane, or is this a true Portulaca?
I think it's a true Portulaca. I snipped some at Will Rogers 2 years ago, and then I snip it and put it in water in the winter, and then I stick it back in the ground in the summer, and it seems to live.
And it will go to, I think it will go to seed.
And it might. Some of it may be coming up from seed because I just snipped. That's an aster, a native aster.
I
And
love the foliage on
bugs
that.
love that. The butterflies love it. This is my little grouping I'm taking to Colorado. I've got some Joe Pye weed and some penstemon and some more liatris.
Oh, yes,
And
yes.
and other stuff. Some of the, I keep meaning to dig more up and take, but I just.
Well, there's only so much time.
know.
Stuart, if you don't mind doing the expanse of this, because even though you've got plenty of color, Barbara,
I'm just.
it would hold its own just because of the leaf forms
Thank you.
and the textural interplay and the color echoes. Everything would just, it's just lovely. And it's interesting to me because it does remind me of our beloved Colorado a little
Yes,
bit.
A little bit.
And the others, I know people are going to ask, do you know what the color of your fence is?
I just painted it, and I got not a solid paint, but
Like a
kinda
stain.
solid stain,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's called dark gray. It was Cabot from Lowe's, and I think it's called it's a gray from one of those.
Well, it
From
looks
Lowe's. Thank
beautiful
you.
with the color of, was the house painted this color when you
Yes,
bought it?
The house was painted this color when we bought it, and some neighbors 2 blocks over had painted their fence black, which really makes the plants pop.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if that would be too hot. I didn't know.
I
how that
and
would
maybe
do.
more enclosed. I love this because
Thank you.
it so complements the color of your house.
Well, thank you.
And then this is just really lovely. Did you install
We did.
this canopy?
We did. We needed some shade in a bad way from that west sun. And as tall as our trees get, they're never going to completely shade this. But it is really nice most of the day.
And where did you source
I-
this?
At Walmart online. It was like $300. It was really inexpensive. We've had to replace the fabric already though, and that's another 100, but it's still
Okay,
nice.
Stuart, can
It's
you
a-
hear what she said? Okay, good.
I think it was a Better Homes and Garden brand. But when
Yeah.
I was looking for the fabric, there are a lot of brands out there, Home Depot, Walmart. I like to order from a local store,
Yeah.
even though it's online, because then I can take it back easier.
Right.
So if
Was
I have
this
to,
difficult to install?
just at the very end, they had you put, there were two of us, my husband and I, and they had you assemble the top and then lift it up. And that wasn't heavy, but it's like, how do you get all those, you had to almost set it in level.
Uh-huh.
So just then some friends came and helped us do the last little bit. So it was not hard.
Some
And I did
heroes
feel-
came
I
by.
did put sand in here. They tell you to if you're worried about the wind.
Well, we're
And
always
I
worried
wish
about
I'd
the
put
wind.
more. I would do if I had.
How
to do
far
it
up
over
did
again.
you put the
I
sand?
put a 5-pound bag of sand in each one is all, and I should have done 50
20 or something, yeah.
Well, after
I should have
this,
filled it,
yeah,
yeah.
after this,
Uh-huh.
well, this is just absolutely brilliant, and I love the way it circumscribes your furniture, and your furniture is just the perfect scale for this. And how charming is that? I love that, and I love the dark door
That goes into
against.
the part that we live in when we have company. So the company has that whole front part, or I say company, but guess when we rent it, we just lock it off, and this is our whole part back here.
How
There's
much
a little
square
kitchen.
feet? How many
In
square feet
this
do you have?
part, there's a bedroom, a bathroom. It's probably 600 back here.
Just all you need before you go to Colorado.
Yes, exactly. The kitchen leaves a little to be desired.
Well,
I had to really work to shove in our champagne and orange juice bottles with all of our.
you have your priorities. Who cares about the veggies? You've got your priorities.
And we think this is a crabapple. I love this tree. We need to trim it back in a bad way, but it helps shower, it helps shade, and
I
thought
love
it
the
was a palm
color.
tree, but a friend said he thinks it's a crabapple, so I've used that picture of this app, and it's a crabapple.
It is
And
a
it's
crab
beautiful.
apple.
You can't really see.
Hi.
This is Kay, another
Hi,
neighbor. and
Kay. I'm Linda.
I know you. I love you.
Oh.
I love you.
Well, I feel like, Stuart, do we have a whole new group of friends?
Sounds like it.
And
We
we
have-
You guys want a mimosa?
Oh, you bet.
Do you want a
You
mimosa?
bet.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, Kay, we will finish out here. And can I just say, I am obsessed with lightweight kind of house dresses that are so much cooler to be in than in our leggings or jeans
They're
or even
too
shorts because they cling too much. And this is just a,
$29 on Amazon. You can wear it to church. I got 4 of them different colors.
okay, you'll really sell me if it's got pockets. Does it have pockets?
Yes. Look,
Sold!
pockets. I
$29.
know.
They have like 14 colors.
Okay.
Fixing a mimosa, by the way.
I need to look at that. Well, I know you guys out there, we're going to end on this note. So many of you, I meet all of these fabulous.
This is
Oh,
my sister, by the way, who lives 2 houses down, and my best friend from grade school, who we grew up in this neighborhood 2 houses
Okay,
apart,
names,
and now we're 2
please.
houses apart.
Rebecca.
Kathy.
Oh yeah, we've met Kathy.
Kelly.
Kelly. Well, oh my goodness.
And Lois, another
And
neighbor.
Kay, oh thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
Lois
can
is back
we
here.
toast?
Yes.
Here, I'll toast with Kathy and oh my goodness, I just, this is completely a surprise, you guys. I had no idea that I was going to be treated with such
One
a
more toast,
wonderful,
everybody.
such a wonderful, here Stuart, I'm toasting you. Such a wonderful community of women, and I started to say that so many of you out there, I know you tell me that you live vicariously through this and that you want to feel like you're part of these groups of amazing gardeners, and more importantly, really accomplished, stylish, amazing women. And I just want to say you are a part of it because now all of these women are your friends too. So thank you, thank
We
you,
love
thank
gardeners.
you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Signing off
Stuart,
until
thank
next
you.
time from this beautiful native garden in Linwood, Oklahoma City. Well, if you've held on this long, here is my outfit of the day. My glasses are my trusty aviator Ray-Bans. My earrings are just some gold tone French earrings from, let me start over again.
Okay.
What are these called? I want to think of what's that's called. French. Anyhow, okay. I won't
can't
say
help
that.
you at
French.
all.
There's a way that they hook. Anyhow.
All right.
Yeah.
And 3, 2.
Well, if you've held on this long, here is your outfit of the day. My trusty Ray-Ban aviator sunglasses. My earrings are just some gold tone earrings that I got. I believe I got these at Target. My dress is H&M, and it's one of these loose, cool dresses that I just am really into this summer because they just are so lightweight and I can feel a breeze, but not in a bad way. If there is a breeze, by the way, know that I've got some little shorts on underneath this, so not a problem. I will not be indelicate. My necklaces came from a trip we took, and I can't remember exactly where. I think it was Belize. My bracelets, this one came from Ulta many years ago. These are, and Stuart, we're going to show these on where I got these bracelets. Did you wear your friendship bracelet today? Mm-hmm. Okay, so Stuart has his. Okay, so Stuart has his friendship bracelets on. These two are mine. This is an African bead bracelet that I got in Santa Fe, and I can't remember where I got that. My sandals I got at Nordstrom Rack, I believe. And Stuart, have I forgotten anything? Oh, so. Yeah, my bag. Okay, I do. This is a new thing. This is a new bag that I got online, and I really like it, and I just love the way it looks with sundresses. So there you go. There is my outfit of the day.